Welcome into Second Down right here on ESPN Radio. Christian Gokel alongside the one, the only PJ Zuko.
Get out of
here on this Monday afternoon. Glad to have you guys all hanging out with us here. So much to get into. Braves take 2 out of 3 from the Marlins over the weekend in a really contentious series between the division rivals. They now sit 3.5 back of the New York Mets. Obviously, the unfortunate news on Saturday night, the Hawks season is officially over after they lose Game 6 to the Milwaukee Bucks. We'll dive into that, have some college football talk to get into here as well. But PJ, before we go any further, just a completely random out of the blue question.
Okay.
How many hot dogs did you eat yesterday?
I think by the end of the night it was about 3. So not quite a new record or anything like that, but yeah. I did get my hot dogs in yesterday for sure.
All right, so PJ with 3, that would put you only 73 hot dogs short.
Right.
Of what American hero Joey Chestnut did yesterday at the world famous Nathan hot dog eating contest.
American hero is a great name for that. Although it is kind of painful to watch how they do it.
Is it?
I'm not gonna lie.
I think it might be the most absorbing, beautiful sport to watch.
Really?
Yeah.
I was watching like a doc 30 for 30 on them practicing and watching them practice each step, like slowly dunking in the water, dunking the bun in the water or the hot dog in the water, and slowly like trying to absorb everything they can, just obviously so they can get it as quick as possible, but they want to get the motions down, so they do it slowly first. It's painful. I don't know. I can't do it. The water, man, I can't do it. If they were just eating, that's one thing, but
no, man, you have to have the water to soak the bun up into it.
Right.
And then
I get it, but.
And if you're watching on the screen here, you just see all of the previous records there. I mean, 2020, he had 75. 2018, he had 74. 2017, just building it up with 72, which is unbelievable. Yeah. Like, I'm trying to picture 76 hot dogs just like stacked up.
Just like sitting on a table.
And then trying to figure out how that fits into a person's body.
Right.
Because I did back over a year ago now when there were no sports on. I did the McDonald's challenge in here with Kevin while we were doing 3 and out.
That was remarkable.
And it was like a couple of double quarter pounder or a couple of quarter pounders. I don't want to give myself too much credit. A couple of quarter pounders, just like a regular burger, a ton of nuggets and a ton of fries and like 3 large drinks. That pales in comparison to what he did. I don't even know if it's half of what he did, but I felt nauseous for like the next 3 or 4 days. So I can't imagine what Joey Chestnut's feeling like right now, but just wanted to give credit where credit's due because he just number 2, I guess, you win $10,000 if you come in first place in this. Why are you even competing if you know Joey Chestnut's going to be in it?
Yeah, don't even show up. But you literally are just there to be in his presence. I think if you are a professional eater at that point, you're going in and I might get like 40, I might get like 45. I'm definitely going to lose, but maybe I can tell my kids that I was in this competition. We can go back and watch it. But no, if he shows up or you hope he runs out of gas on the way to or something like that, and then maybe
eventually he's not going to win.
Yeah.
And it'll be my time.
Yeah, it might not be a huge announcement or anything like that. You kind of fingers crossed. Maybe he won't show up this year, and then he shows up, and you're like, well, I'll practice for next year at least.
This is his 14th title. And I'm trying to see here. 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021. Is he the most dominant athlete in the world right now?
Wow.
Like him and Serena?
I think they're up there for sure. Tom Brady. I'd put Tom Brady in there as well.
But Tom Brady has what, 7?
He doesn't 7? Do it by himself.
Joey Chestnut has twice as many titles as him.
That's insanely true. And it's not like he's
Jordan's holding the 6 rings
year,
up, and Joey Chestnut's like, yeah, go ahead and put 8 more on there.
The longevity for him to be able to do that too is insanely
And we can say,
impressive.
like you said, Leonard Fournette maybe carried Tom Brady that title last year.
Yeah.
Wait.
What?
Yeah, playoff Lenny maybe carry Tom Brady. I mean, Tom Brady threw so many interceptions in the NFC Championship. So he maybe carried Tom Brady
Calm
to
down.
that Super Bowl last year. If we're talking about Michael Jordan, I mean, he has a pretty great teammates. It's Scottie Pippen, Hall of Famer.
Scotty Kukoc.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Oh, okay.
I mean,
yeah.
Dennis Rodman.
Yeah, Dennis Rodman. He had all of those. So so I'm saying, like, Joey Chestnut's out here doing it by himself. And they call him Jaws for a reason.
I love. Did you see his like walk up to like?
Yeah, that's how you know.
Like,
that's how you know you're going to
everybody
lose.
hyped
Is
up.
I wish I knew the guy's name, but they have the public address announcer who's there, and he's getting everybody pumped up, and everybody else's was like, "Hey, here's who you are. Here's a couple of sentences about you. Good luck." Joey Chestnut took like 5 minutes.
He was yelling things of like biblical proportion
Yes.
About Joey Chestnut before and after the competition. Like all I'm saying is when people start spewing that kind of stuff, when they're announcing you to come in to eat hot dogs, you're doing something right, I guess, in your own vein. But no, I love, like you said, nickname Jaws, and like the whole time he was walking up, he's like shaking hands, signing babies, kissing hand, whatever,
Oh yeah,
and doing all that stuff. But in the middle of it, he's like, it's Jaws, right? So he's like he keeps doing this thing. He's like just getting his jaws, getting his mouth ready to go, just stretching things out. I'm like, dude, okay, all right,
here we go.
This is true commitment.
I do watch. I do want to watch and learn some of the how they train for this, because it has to be nuts, like what they're doing to their bodies. But again, just want to give credit where credit's due. Joey Chestnut, 14th
right
title.
Right.
Congratulations, again, American hero. Also, over the weekend, PJ, we mentioned the Braves take 2 out of 3 from the Marlins there. But really, I think the story of the weekend was Friday, right? 1-0 Braves win that game to open the series. The 1 run coming on Ronald Acuna, scoring on an Ozzie Albies sacrifice. But how'd he get on base? 1 pitch, hits batsman high and inside. Marlins all over again, hitting Ronald Acuna high and inside. What was the difference on Friday? Well, the umpires got together and said, you know what, Pablo Lopez, this is enough. I know Jose Urena is really the bad guy and he's not even on the team anymore, but Pablo Lopez, this is enough. You're ejected.
Yeah. Straight
up. The Don Mattingly losing his mind, saying this clearly wasn't intentional, even though it was 93 miles an hour high and tight on the elbow.
And
again,
it's not exactly. It's not. This is not a one-time thing, a one-time occurrence.
Right. And so a lot of people out there are complaining, saying you just told Ronald Acuna that he owns the inside portion of the plate now, because pitchers won't feel like they're going to be able to go inside on him. I don't think that's true for 28 teams.
Yeah.
I think it's true for one team. It's the Marlins. That might be true. Like, where if you're a Marlins pitcher, maybe don't go high and inside on him, or at least wait till you get a couple of pitches into the count, or at the very least, just not with the first pitch of the game.
Right.
Because how many times have we seen that? Going back to Jose Urena, right?
Yeah.
Where he just beams him on the first pitch. And so it happens again, but this time they throw him out. Don Mattingly saying way too soon for that. Like, you can't be throwing a guy out. It could, again, he could just be trying to establish a plate, throwing high and inside, hitting the batter. But I thought this was a smart move for the umpires and really for Major League Baseball, saying this is one of our bright stars in the game, and we're not going to have him getting hurt because one team has an issue with him.
Yeah, and this isn't going to continually happen, and we're not going to just not do anything about it and let it continue to happen. And who knows what could have happened, throughout the game if that wasn't acted upon. And as you mentioned, I understand, I guess, to a certain extent, Mattingly arguing that it was too early or something like that. But at the end of the day, each team is trying to go out there and set a tone, right? Well, you could throw in a third team in there, and that's the umps. They're trying to set a tone of how the game's going to go. You talk about it in every sport, football, basketball. How much are you going to let them play when calling fouls and things like that in the playoffs, the regular season? There's always a discussion about that, and that certainly is part of the discussion in baseball as well, especially when you have these reoccurring things happening. So you got to be able to control it. And, maybe it just got away from him a little bit. Maybe it was just a coincidence, obviously, that it traveled up there and hit him high and inside. But at the end of the day, they got to be able to take it into their own hands and set the tone for the game, saying, all right, we're not going to accept this, and we're not going to have any craziness the rest of the game. You're out of here, and anyone else, at that point, if anyone else retaliates or anything like that, you're gone too. So like you said, really sets the precedent not only for the game but for the whole series as well. And at the end of the day, you certainly could have an argument to either side, but I for one, am right there with you. Happy with the Braves' success over the course of the weekend, being able to get to 2 out of 3 there and keep on moving up the standings. But at the end of the day, I think the umps. Kudos to them, because I know we rag on them quite a bit when they get things wrong.
I think Braves fans are the only ones saying they got it right.
Of course,
because you want to protect your guy, right? And everyone else is saying, come on, everybody gets hit. There's been a lot of, I think JT Realmuto, like during that time span, has been hit by the Braves just as many times as Ronald Acuna has been hit by the Marlins. But I think there's a difference between like sliders coming inside and hit you on the top of the foot.
Yeah.
Right. Or just like a changeup that misses inside and hits you low, than just consistently getting beamed with fastballs
right.
high and inside with the first pitch of the game.
Yep.
All right. So I've seen all those stats out there. There's a player for the Marlins that have been hit by the Braves just as many times in less games than Ronald Acuna. But again, you got to look at the situation. You got to look at when it's happening. You got to look at the location of the pitch. And I think that's what Braves fans are saying. It's high and inside. And it's like, it's not just a little bit inside. It's like riding up his tricep.
Yeah.
Is where they're hitting with the baseball. So kudos to the umps, but really Brian Snitker, the one who got it started. A lot of people pointing to this, and hilariously enough, Brian Snitker is kind of becoming a villain to at least Marlins fans, right?
Yeah.
Because they feel like he was the one who got Pablo Lopez ejected, right? Because he comes out, he's throwing his arms up in the air. He's saying, that's it. That's enough. He's like, that's enough. He's like, it's happened too many times before. You can kind of read his lips. Some words we can't repeat on the air, but you can read his lips and say that's enough, and got him actually up, because he'll bark from inside the dugout, but Brian Snitker's mad if he's up and out of the dugout, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
He's very much old school of the old school mind of baseball, right? Where he's kind of like, all right, if one of our guys gets hit, we'll just get him back later, kind of a deal.
Right.
But that's his guy, and he's been criticized before for criticizing Ronald Acuna Jr.'s effort on like running out some fly balls and running out some ground outs and stuff like that. So some people have wondered if that relationship has been contentious, but you saw him supporting his guy there, and I think got a job done getting him thrown out. Actually, I think it was use a Call of Duty term. I think it was like a triple kill, right? Because he got Don Mattingly ejected, Pablo Lopez ejected. I think one more Marlin got ejected. So I think he did his job pretty good there. So so there you go.
Yeah, it's a whole lot like you walking into a building in Warzone and us just kind of hanging out outside. And it's just like all of a sudden, oh guys, I got, and then you never mind, I got him. Team down.
Brian Snitker getting folks ejected from the game. I know Kevin Thomas, if one of his guys got plunked like that at a Pee Wee game, he's out there, or a little league
absolutely.
game.
That's I do like that about Brian Snitker, though. Like you said, kind of plays it close to the vest a little bit, and we'll get him back later if we need to. But when he needs to go out there and defend his guy, and it is a big moment like that, he's able to go out and do it, and it almost carries more weight. Mm-hmm. Kevin's out there almost every inning. You know what I mean?
I've heard bad things from the Little League umpires about Kevin, just chirping at him.
Fiery.
Yeah, man. every single inning out there, just wearing those guys out. We got to take a quick break here. We'll come back again. Season ends for the Hawks. I don't think you can call it a disappointment. We went to Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals with the team that fired their coach midway through the season. So you can't complain about the year. I think an awesome year. We'll come back, talk about it when we come back. Travis Schlink has done an unbelievable job with the Atlanta Hawks, and we'll talk about what's next for them. Also some college football to dive into as well. Christian Gokel alongside PJ Zuko here on Second Down. More to come right after this. Second Down on ESPN Radio is presented to you by The Uniform Source. Christian Gokel alongside PJ Zuko. Glad to have you here. Cam Ursher will be back on the show with us tomorrow. PJ, bittersweet ending to the season for the Atlanta Hawks. If you told fans before the season you'd go to Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals, I think everyone would take that, right?
I'm pretty sure most people just wouldn't believe you.
Yeah, they're like, you talk on the radio? Yeah, no, but I think everybody takes that, but it's amazing. BJ always says is how perspectives change throughout the year, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, we got Trae Young, we got Bogey, Clint Capella's balling out, John Collins is stepping up. All right, wait, LeBron's hurt. LeBron's out. The Suns beat LeBron.
Yeah,
Kyrie's hurt. James Harden can't go.
Wait a second.
Kevin Durant just lost to the Bucks.
Yeah, there's light in this tunnel.
We got the Bucks. We take game 1.
Wait a minute.
On the road? Wait, Giannis is hurt? And so it's just, I think you kind of got your hopes up, and then all of a sudden you realized, oh, well, the Hawks are kind of a small team.
Yeah.
They have Brooks Lopez. Chris Middleton stepped up. Drew Holiday stepped up. You couldn't do anything with them. You literally had nothing for them inside the paint those last 2 games. So
I don't even know if that was Brook Lopez. I'm pretty sure that was someone else wearing his jersey. I don't know, man.
That was Brook Lopez saying, oh, there's literally no one who's going to bother me in the
Right.
paint here. Cool. I'll
Why
take
not?
that for 2 games. But I think that might be where it's kind of bittersweet for Hawks fans, right? Because you're like, man, Giannis was out.
Yeah.
Trae Young was out, but Giannis was out. And you just got absolutely decimated in 2 straight games
Right.
without Giannis in there. So season comes to an end. But like I said, I think something you could look back on and be like, all right, this is a building point for the Hawks going forward.
Absolutely. No. This is, you saw the holes, I think, in the team, and you saw the chinks in the armor for sure. But at least you saw everything else around that really thrive and really play extremely well throughout the rest of the playoffs. And so now you're able to see those holes and able to see where you can get better more evidently than you might have if you didn't get this far. Maybe you had more questions swirling or something like that. But at the end of the day, now you can see these things and really, really address them. I think that the only other thing I would say, other than just the straight size and the power, really down low, like you said, not all size, but less finesse, more power, more body. Other than that, I think the difference you really saw too is, yes, Giannis being out and the Bucks being able to turn, and this is no shade towards any of the Hawks players other than Trae Young. John Collins certainly stepped up and did a fantastic job with what he was able to do, and so did the other guys around him as well. But I think you definitely saw the Bucks be able to say, all right, our main guy's out, but we have these other 2 or 3 guys that can lead our team.
You have 2 Olympians,
for a few games, not a whole series, not a whole postseason. But Chris Middleton has been there and has been averaging in the 20s for a long time.
Had a 38-point game earlier in the postseason.
Exactly. Yeah. Drew Holiday has been around the league and has been doing a great job leading teams from his position for a long time. And if he's asked to be that guy for a game or 2, he can certainly do it. Now, I think with the Hawks, what I'd really love to see in the offseason is, that one more guy. If they can attract that one more guy to play alongside Trae Young and kind of be his second-hand man, that would be incredible. Yeah, a little bit more size down low as well. But yeah, as you said, was it somewhat discouraging, somewhat disheartening to see the last couple games go that way? For sure. But at the end of the day, you come out of this with, I think, hope. Sure. With a bit of a refreshed mindset of where this Hawks team really is.
I was about to say, that's a good point. I think a very different perspective on the Atlanta Hawks than where we were midway through this season, right? And so I guess the first step now is Nate McMillan, the next head coach. I think most people would say, yeah, hell yeah. What are we waiting on?
Lock him down.
I've said before, I don't think it's the Hawks that haven't removed the interim tag from Nate McMillan. I think it's probably Nate McMillan wanting to get to the end of wherever they were going to get in the postseason and then start looking at some of these jobs around the league, which some of them have been filled already. But I do think he wants to do his due diligence before just accepting it, because he might be the hottest name in coaching right now in basketball.
can't see why. It wouldn't
with
be.
what he just did with his Hawks team. I do think this is going to be a different Hawks team next year. I mean, if I had my number one wish list, is Bradley Beal would be guy to slide in next to Trae Young there. I do think if that's the case, then either John Collins, maybe Kevin Huerter, or Bogey aren't here next season. Maybe I know John Collins is coming up on a new deal, where maybe you move Bogdanovich or Kevin Huerter. I don't know if you get a guy like Bradley Beal, if you can keep all of them, because there's only one basketball, right?
Yeah.
And I think the other thing you need to try to do, keep Clint Capella. I think he was a massive part. I mean, he literally led the league in rebounds.
Yeah.
And I don't think in any series was he the biggest guy out there.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And so if you can keep Clint Capella, and then I do think you need one of those just monster 7-footer rim protectors.
Yeah.
I know the league's gotten away from it, but if you're going to have Trae Young on offense, and I think what a lot of people forget is you're talking about all the points in the paint. You're just thinking it's Brook Lopez jumping over people. It was really them just blowing by people. And so you kind of saw some of that Lloyd Pierce Hawks defense come back with Trae Young getting blown by. Bogey was banged up. He was getting blown by consistently. Kevin Huerter, he's played really good defense, but Drew Holiday was eating him alive, getting inside the paint and then either laying up or throwing it up to Lopez, right? So there's some reevaluation that's going to happen. And the other thing that wouldn't surprise me is this. Even if the Hawks get completely healthy next year, add some guys to the roster, because there are no reports or rumors out there about who they would add. But if this team comes back next year, it's the Eastern Conference Finals run, I think there's a very good chance that they maybe get bounced in the first or second round because of how hurt the NBA was this year.
Yeah.
Right. So it's one of those things where you maybe needed to take advantage of the situation that was put in front of you to try to get to the finals. You lost 2 straight. I know your guy was hurt, but you lost 2 straight to a team that was missing their number one guy.
Yeah.
So that's why, I think it's kind of bittersweet for Hawks fans right now. But I do think, like you said, a very different perspective on this team. It's like something you're legitimately excited about. You're like, all right, hey, we need another scorer and we need a big, and we're right there.
Yeah.
We're right there.
Well, and I think as you've seen the way this team has played overall throughout the postseason, and just the energy they play with, the building in Atlanta, man, getting crazy.
The farm,
getting crazy for and the excitement in the energy in there that you had for a few games during this postseason. For a long time, for whatever reason, for a long time, it seems like big name free agents, Atlanta just isn't really on the radar for them. Maybe this kind of a run and the energy that the Hawks were able to play with, kind of that, I love it. I know I bring it up every time I talk to them, but the chip on the shoulder, we don't care. We're gonna come out and do anything we want, no matter what point in the game. We're just gonna come out here and ball.
Yeah.
That kind of energy can definitely lure, I feel like, a star or two.
And it can't be the city, right?
You want to play with that, right?
And it can't be the city, right? I think it was pretty much just the franchise where they were struggling to get guys in, because I mean, the Falcons, if you look back in the past, they've been able to go get a Michael Turner, they've been able to go get a Tony Gonzalez, John Abrahams. Like, they're not huge free agents, but you've been able to go get guys, those pieces you need to add for a championship, right? Then you go out with the Braves, and they've been able, just thinking over the past couple of years, you go and get a Josh Donaldson, right, to play third base for you. And then you were able to sign a Marcell Ozuna. Obviously, the legal troubles are what they are right now, but you're able to draw in a Marcell Ozuna to come to your team, right? So they've been able to go get some free agents. But I think what people are talking about with the Hawks is, can you go get one of those like top 5 free agents?
Yeah.
Right? Because for the most part, they're wanting to go to New York or to Los Angeles, either the Clippers or the Lakers, which can't blame you. New York and Los Angeles, great cities to live in. You want to build one of those super teams with someone else. But I do think someone in the vein of a Bradley Beal is doable, and I think it would be a game changer for the Hawks.
Yeah, absolutely. A guy that can go out there and get his own shot at any point in the game. And he's had his injury troubles in the past, but that's really what you need. I think that would bring a lot. But
I'm just trying to speak it into existence.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Why not? For sure. But I think that's mainly what you need and what you would like. Like you said, the Hawks kind of got the rebounding pretty well secured there with Capella. I think you have DeAndre Hunter going to be coming back.
He's back.
Well,
Cam Reddish, I thought, played really well.
Yeah, for
down
sure.
the stretch.
He was coming off an injury late there in the year as well throughout the finals. So throughout the conference finals. But no, absolutely. I think if not Bradley Beal, a guy like that that can go out there and really create like a Trae Young, but not, obviously the picture perfect copy.
You
of
have
Trae
your
Young.
guy right now.
Yeah,
you just
exactly.
you need, and I think some people think Bogey can be that guy. I guess that's a wait and see for me. I think if you have a better option, you have to
Right.
go try and get him. And then, hey, if you can put Bogdanovich, Bradley Beal, or someone like that, and Trae Young on the court at the same time, that's a legit three. And then if you can get another big body, because I do think you need just one more big body in the middle, or somebody who plays big, right? You need, like, if you can get another Clint Capella, right? PJ Tucker isn't huge, but he plays big. If you can get another guy like that, because I think that's kind of what we saw when they played the 76ers and what we saw when they played the Bucks was the Hawks would get out physical and out athletic a few times. They can shoot. They can shoot with anybody.
Yeah.
But they got out bigged a few times in these playoffs.
That could be huge too. As you were talking about the defense and what Drew Holiday was able to do with the Bucks and whatnot, and of course Chris Middleton able to score quite a bit in those last few games. I think that's a notable thing too that I think the Hawks could really thrive if they end up getting is one of those kind of nasty wing / guard defenders.
Look, if
they go out, listen,
just
they're
Zaza
not trying-
Pachulia, you need a guy in there who's going to just throw bows.
But they're not out there trying to get 20 points a game or anything like that. But what they're out there to do. A PJ Tucker, a Tony Allen of years past.
You need a goon.
Yeah, exactly. And hey, what more would kind of fit the mold for that mentality that if Coach ends up coming back, which would be fantastic.
Yeah.
It would very much fit his mentality of defensive play and defensive intensity. So something like that, I think, would be huge for the Hawks moving forward as well.
It's going to be interesting to see. We're going to take a quick break here. We'll come back, talk some college football with you. Heather Dinich putting out her conference previews on ESPN.com. We'll dive into some news from the ACC and the SEC there as well. All that coming up next right here on Second Down. Second Down on ESPN Radio is presented to you by the Uniform Source. Christian Gokel alongside PJ Zuko here on this Monday afternoon. Glad to have you alongside. PJ, Heather Dinich put out a new story previewing the Power 5 conferences and their championship contenders, who to watch out for, who to not forget about. Thought a couple of interesting quotes from there that I think most people will agree with, but, you know, we try not to say it out loud too much, right? Because you're like, yeah, I don't want to stir up the other fan bases and get them upset, but we probably know it's true. And I want to start with the ACC. Heather Dinich says in the first sentence of her ACC preview, if it weren't for Clemson and the fleeting 2020 season of Notre Dame, the ACC would be irrelevant in the national championship conversation. I think a couple things there.
Yeah.
There's a few conferences you could say if you took out their top team, they'd be irrelevant in the national championship conversation. But at the same time, I think a lot of people were on the hype train for Miami and North Carolina this year, saying they can compete, more so Miami, but they can compete with Clemson if they just get that one shot in the ACC championship game. They can compete with Clemson. But Heather Dinich saying, no, if it's not for Clemson this year, ACC completely irrelevant.
Yeah. That's wild, man. That's wild for sure. Like you said, there's some things you just don't really say. I mean, and to your point, there are some conferences out there that even with their best team, they're somewhat irrelevant in the playoff picture, especially over the last few years. But no, very surprised at that. And I mean, I would even put.
Would you disagree though?
I all in all, yeah, I think I would, because as you said, I think Miami has a lot going into this year, and I wouldn't count out North Carolina. Like, I know at the end of the day, they're gonna have to outscore people to be able to win in those big games. But man, Sam Howell get out there slinging it around and whatnot. I know he doesn't have the same running backs to turn around and hand the ball off to this year either. But still, think that talent is there, and you never know. You never just want to discard them or count them out. So. I don't know. I think that's a little too wide sweeping for me, but I do agree that, of course, I agree that Clemson is head and shoulders above the other players, the other contenders in the ACC, but I just would not completely disregard anybody but them. I think that's a little too hasty.
I don't think North Carolina is there this year. I think it's just one of those situations where you have your junior quarterback coming back, but you lost so much from the year before. You lost two running backs, Javonte Williams and Michael Carter, Chaz Surratt, the linebacker, and then Diami Brown and Daz Newsome out of the wide receiver core. Two guys who coming into last year were both 1,000-yard wide receivers the year before. So you lost the best running back duo maybe in college football last year, and you lost your top two wide receivers and your best defensive player. I don't think that's a great recipe for success.
No.
But people would be like, well, you know, Clemson, they lost their quarterback and they lost their top running back. And, you know, so it's like they should be taking a step back too. It's a different story, and it's a different recruiting level.
Yeah.
You don't have a DJ Uiagalelei coming through at North Carolina. And as good as Sam Howell is, right, and Justin Ross coming back for Clemson has been huge. And the defensive front for Clemson might be the best in the country, right? I'd say like Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, like right there in terms of a front seven, right? So North Carolina just doesn't have that. Miami with Derek King is interesting because they get the guys in like Charleston Rambo to transfer in. Quietly, they've been a lot better in recruiting. I think it's interesting, but I also kind of feel sitting here on July 5th, like, so if they have 10 wins, it's a great season for them.
Yeah.
Right? They have a pretty tough schedule, but if they have 10 wins, it's pretty amazing. They're not going to be an undefeated team.
Right.
At the end of the year. They're not that good. So for me, I think what she's saying is true. If it's not for Clemson, they don't have a national championship contender.
I don't know. I mean, I think because you're talking about Miami there and the sense of, I'm pretty confident that they can get to that 10 win mark. But then those last two games, man, they're toss-ups, right? At the end of the day, like, of course, they play Clemson. Clemson's going to be heavily favored or favored, and I don't disagree with that. But I'm saying any given weekend, man, you can go in there and get a win. So I don't know. I would agree that, Clemson head and shoulders above them, but only chance, only shot.
So how many conferences do you feel like right now have more than one playoff contender? Just going through
Well,
them, like
that's the-
Pac-12, I feel like they have one, and it's Oregon.
Maybe.
Big-
I mean, even them, I think it's kind of fringe. You know?
Yeah, but I think if Oregon goes undefeated, because they do have that September 11th matchup with Ohio State.
Yeah.
I think if they go undefeated and win that game, they're in. Or even if they win that game, drop one in the conference, but still win the conference championship, I think Oregon's probably in. I think the Big Ten, how many contenders do you have? Because I mean, Penn
Big
State.
Ten's odd. Yeah.
Penn State lost 5 games to start the year last year, but then won 4 in a
Yeah.
row to end it.
Yeah.
So it's so weird. But Ohio State, they're replacing a lot, replacing their starting quarterback.
Right.
They have arguably the 2 best receivers in college football coming back.
Yeah.
Since George Pickens went down, so they do have that on offense. But it's interesting with Ohio State because you don't know, but you just kind of assume, much like Clemson and Alabama, they just kind of reload.
Right.
I would say the only 2 conferences that have legitimately 2 playoff contenders are the SEC and the Big 12.
Who's the second one for the Big 12?
Iowa
You know?
State, I would say.
Yeah,
I think
okay,
Matt
yeah,
Campbell's
yeah.
done a good job. Did you hear the report
you're
about
right.
him? Apparently, I missed this back in May that he turned down, I believe, an 8-year, $64 million contract from the Detroit Lions.
Goodness gracious. Yeah. No, I did not hear that.
And if all that tells me is his agent knows, like, hey, if there's a big job that opens up in college football, you're
Your
name
next guy
number
on the
one.
list,
Yeah,
yeah.
you're name number one. You got to be the darling of college football right now. And maybe he's like, yeah, that's a lot of money, but that's also the Lions.
yeah. Yeah. I don't know if I want to go up and suffer up there for that long.
So
just
instead of
for the
Matt
money.
Campbell, they went Dan Campbell.
yeah.
And now they're eating kneecaps up in Detroit. But no, so I think Iowa State with the quarterback running back combo they have, I think so. I mean, we were talking about this a couple weeks ago. Per ESPN's FPI, if Oklahoma or if Iowa State beats Oklahoma in the regular season and they both go undefeated, and then Oklahoma avenges that in the conference championship game, you can get 2 in.
Right. Yeah. That'd be,
From that
that'd be
conference,
wild.
like 74% chance that they would get 2 in that situation. So I think the SEC probably has, say, 3, maybe 4 legitimate contenders right now.
Yeah.
Because pretty much, if you win the SEC, you're in.
Right. Right. Of course. Yeah. I mean, if I would say, I would argue almost like if you win the SEC, you're in. If you win, I don't know about the ACC. I would say if you win the SEC,
I think that's fascinating because if like a
like the
3 or
Big
4
12
loss team gets to the ACC championship and upsets Clemson somehow, just a crazy field goal or something like that.
Yeah.
But Clemson's undefeated before that. I think the 1-loss Clemson team would get
still
in
gets in. Yeah.
before the conference champion ACC team.
I would agree with that as well. I think there's 3 conferences, like you saying that. I think there's 3 conferences that if you win and you don't have more than like 1 or 2 losses, you get in.
Yeah.
And right now, I think that's actually the Big 10, the Big 12, and the SEC.
I think the SEC,
Yeah.
even if you have 2 losses, like say Georgia loses to Clemson to start the year, gets better, then like has that weird South Carolina game where they drop one, but they beat Alabama
Right.
in the SEC championship. I think that's a hard argument to keep them out just because they lost to Clemson at the very beginning of the year. I
For sure.
think it's fascinating, but yeah, I think maybe 2 conferences right now have more than 1 legitimate contender.
Yeah, I mean, you could you could argue for more, but even, I mean, I know you guys like to go back with me and talk about the Big Ten all the time, stuff like that. But like, even thinking about the Big Ten, Ohio State with how much they have to reload. Like, yeah, I would say they're the one. Of course, I want to ride for my team, whatever.
You want to ride
but
for the Nittany Lions? It's okay.
But even then, you look around to the west of the Big Ten, and I've never really. I know they always get preseason top 25 and stuff like that. Is Wisconsin truly a contender?
Is
I'm not sure. They got
Northwestern
to
a
find a
contender?
quarterback, right?
Is Northwestern a contender? Who knows?
I don't think.
Listen, if they
Northwestern's-
could have just like
hold on.
tackled Trey Sermon one time in the
Yeah,
championship game, Northwestern's maybe right there, the fighting Mike Greenbergs.
maybe so, but I don't think they'll be contending. They might be contending for 6 or 7 wins, something like that. We'll see.
Oh man, PJ taking shots at Northwestern here on the show. Big Ten football talk for you. But quickly here in the SEC, I think this is the narrative that most people agree with. She starts with very simply Alabama, Georgia.
Yeah.
She said they're on a collision course again. The Bulldogs should have one of the league's better quarterbacks than JT Daniels. I think that's very interesting wording. Who will be surrounded by playmakers. Georgia's legitimacy as a playoff contender will be tested in the season opener against Clemson. So I think what most people are saying, 2 schools that you think what they have and you think they're elite? Well, you're going to find out week 1 against Clemson. But what I thought was really interesting in there was should have one of the league's better quarterbacks.
Right.
Which means out of 14 teams, you got a top 7 quarterback.
Yeah.
I think a lot of Georgia fans are thinking way higher than that about JT Daniels right now, right? They're feeling like, yo, we got one of like the 1 or 2 best quarterbacks in the SEC. She's saying, no, you got top 7.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's like, do we? Again, this Heather Dennis saying this. She's like, do we know that JT Daniels is legitimately better than Bryce Young, better than Matt Corral, better than Max Johnson, right? Do we know that he's legitimately better than that, or either of the options that they have at Texas A&M? Do we think we do? We think we do, but we don't know.
I guess you don't until you see the other guys on the field, but we know what we saw Daniels do at quarterback there for Georgia last year.
Who?
I mean, yeah.
I guess too. This is just me. You saw JT Daniels shred hapless Mississippi State team that was missing half of their team. He didn't have to do much against South Carolina. He played well against Missouri, and he had a bunch of yards against Cincinnati, but you only scored 22 points on offense.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I can understand where you're coming from, but I don't know. I still think I would put him a little higher on that list than I guess what she's given credit for, but I'm not sure. We'll see. Obviously, that's part of the good thing, though, too, with whatever was going on with him early in the season last year, trying to come back from injury and everything like that. Maybe going through the full off season now.
That's
with
a
Georgia
huge point. Yeah,
making that
not just for him, but for
forward.
the wide receivers that are going to be playing with them. Right. I think we'll talk about this more tomorrow, but I don't even think we're paying way too much attention to the quarterback. I don't think we're paying attention nearly enough to the 5 guys in front of them.
Oh, for sure.
I think that's going to be what defines Georgia's season coming up. But we'll talk about that more coming up tomorrow. But yeah, it's fascinating because again, she says Alabama, Georgia, they're on a collision course. Again, I would give a little bit of credence to Texas A&M because I think the Aggies have a lot coming back on defense, have a solid offensive line, and I think Jimbo Fisher is ready to make a push. So I think it's fascinating. We'll take a quick break, though. We'll come back. Final segment of Second Down next. Second down on ESPN Radio is presented to you by the Uniform Source. PJ, I gotta know though, man, what did the menu look like over the Zuko house yesterday? So I know
man.
you guys get after it.
Yeah,
on the grills.
absolutely. Absolutely. Last night it was grilling and chilling night, man. That's it. So
Grilling and chilling. Do you
Grilling and
have
chilling.
shirts?
No. They were a little late to be ordered. Couldn't get that in on time. But
Do Mario's have sleeves?
no, none of ours have sleeves.
Okay,
no,
good.
no.
Okay.
None of the Zucos have sleeves. Not at all. That never happens.
Perfect.
So I only I'm forced to wear sleeves in the office. So it is.
No
what
one
it is, but-
said that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no one said that.
Hold on here. Let me break out. No, but it was just the normal I guess July 4th Americana spread. I think we had 36 hot dogs grilled up. Had about 24 cheeseburgers grilled up, ready to go. Some
Very
chips.
specific numbers there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, had to have enough for everybody, and that's the just astronomical thing about what Joey Chestnut was able to do yesterday. We had 36 hot dogs, which is like half what he ate.
Not
right?
even, yeah.
Not even half what he ate, and not even all our hot dogs got ate, and we had like 8-9 people. So I mean, that just shows you what he was able to do was just absolutely ridiculous yesterday.
No,
But no, it was a great time. It was a great time. How about you?
Credit to him. No, very much the same. Got to give credit to Steve for throwing down on the grill again, but just sausages, hot dogs, potato salad, baked beans, all of it, right?
Oh,
Good
man.
to go. Just watching the cornhole tournament after the competitive eating turned off, right?
Yeah.
Just watching competitive cornhole.
Whew.
So there you go.
It was a good day. We
Just-
played some cornhole yesterday. I gotta say though, I'm a little jealous there of the potato salad. We didn't have any of that. Definitely missed out on that one.
No, you got to have the potato salad.
Yeah.
3 and Out coming up next. BJ Bennett out today. Ben Troop and Kevin Thomas though in studio. That's coming up next right here on ESPN Radio.